Hi, I'm David Gugino, and in today's book review, we will be re-reviewing a book that I just got recently done reading. And the book that I have for us today is, when I say recently done reading, I read it twice. It is a very good book. It is by an author that I've talked about numerous times on this channel, and probably one of the, if not wisest authors I've read about, talked about, and honestly listened to. And the book I have for us today is Goals by the one and only Zig Ziglar. How to get the most out of your life. Now, Zig Ziglar has Born to Win. I have the Quality Success book. I have this book. So I've read a lot about Zig Ziglar. He's a very good Christian motivational speaker, and probably one of the most famous guys out there. For now, we're going to dive into the book here. And the first section that we have, we're kind of moving along with this book review. But for the first section that I have here it is about concentration, something that we all need to perform our best and to actually get stuff done throughout the day. But listen to what Zig Ziglar has to say about concentration. Listen to this. Because writing requires greater concentration, which moves what you write into your subconscious mind more firmly, I have no way of proving my next statement, but I believe it is true. I've read enough to be convinced that my statement has a considerable amount of validity. I personally am convinced that the greatest benefit that comes from specifically setting goals is that it directs your left brain, which means you are freeing your right brain for the creativity it is designed to do. In freeing your right brain, your left brain is automatically directed toward the realistic goals of life, which is enormously valuable. Write down everything you want to be, do, or have. Put it all down in writing on a sheet of paper entitled Wild Ideas. There is a space at the end of this chapter for you to write your wild ideas. Now, just in case you're sitting there thinking, Ziglar, it'll take me 3 days to print down everything I want to be or do have, let me assure you that by the end of 1 hour, you will have printed 95% of everything you will put on that list, at least over the next 24 to 48 hours. You might add a few more things, but there won't be very many. Then let the list sit for 24 to 48 hours. At the end of that time, review the list and write one word after each thing you wrote. Write the word why. Why do you want to be, do, and have what you wrote? We will spend the rest of the chapter working on why you wrote those things. Are they real goals, real burning desires in your life, or are they just wins? The real task is finding out what you really want. What will make a positive difference in your life? So we've talked about this before with making lists in your life, making lists with your goals, but I like what he says here about freeing your left brain, directs your left brain, which means it's freeing your right brain for the creativity it is designed to do. In freeing your right brain, your left brain is automatically directed towards the realistic goals of life, which is enormously valuable. Now think about realistic goals of life. Your goals have to be realistic. I know there are some crazy stories out there where people think you're crazy. I mean, people thought Stallone was crazy when he wanted to write, direct, and star in his own movie that he made, and he did that when people told him he would never be an actor. He was honestly done acting. Then he made Rocky, and originally he turned down a lot of producers because they didn't want him starring in the film. And that is like a 1 in a million story of him doing really well and being super successful in the acting business. And then you have people like famous athletes, famous basketball players and football players being too big or too small or not athletic enough, and they manage to do it. But when it comes to creativity, think of creativity. Creativity is not just being clever ideas, it's also creating the time to do whatever, being creative with your time, being creative with how to pursue this goal. Now, back in David Livingstone's days, who's a famous missionary, he was working in a steel mill for 14 hours a day, and he wanted to learn. But you gotta think, he was in that steel mill 14 hours a day, and by nightfall, there wasn't really much to do. So he would learn Bible verses or stories in his Bible by writing them on notes, and when he worked and operated his machine, he would look up, see those notes, and memorize them as he was working. And what I do, since I work at a factory for 12 hours a day, when I work, I don't work today, I take notes on my phone, so during my break time, I flip through them and learn and memorize them. And that's what being creative is. You find a way to create what you want to learn. You find a way to create how you're going to learn and create the life that you want through just being creative. So think about that. Now when it comes to commitment, we all think we're committed to certain things in life, when in reality we're not that committed. It's like working out, for example. It's like guys who do 2 exercises and they spend 45 minutes doing those 2 exercises and they say they're committed to working out. No, they're not. And when it comes to working out, if you are at a gym and you do really work at it, look around. You will see more people on their phones, more people chilling on a machine. And honestly, I think there are girls who put in more work than guys do in the gym. And I think it's crazy. But as a powerlifter, at least that's what I see. Now, through powerlifting, I'm learning more of the movement. So I have my high rep days and my days where I'll just do a core lift and then maybe 3 other exercises. But aside from that, when it comes to commitment, you try to commit more than your opponent. You try to work harder than your opponents. You try to outwork your opponents. And outwork as in you just do a little bit more. You do 1 more exercise. You do 1 more task at work, at your job. You do 1 more other thing in life. And to be honest, in life, that's what you do. That's how commitment works. Now, let's see what Zig Ziglar has to say about commitment. Listen to this. How long to take to do it? I was writing the book at that point, and I figured, based on what I've already done, that it would take me 10 months to write the book. So I thought, well, if it's going to take me 10 months to write the book, I'll just lose the weight as I'm writing. I'll break it down and will lose 3 7/10 pounds a month. Remember, you have to be able to see yourself as already there. You have to emotionally commit yourself to it, to visualize and believe that you can get there. I knew that I could lose 3 7/10 pounds a month. That's not even a pound a week. So I was totally, completely, 100% confident that I could do it. I was so confident that I didn't even bother to get started for 29 days. Do you know anyone who's a half a minder and a gonna doer? They are the ones who are gonna do this. They have half a mind to do that. Those people invariably end up being the never doers. They always have excuses such as the kids keep me too busy. It's the holiday season. It's the football season. The weather is too bad or too good. The family needs my time. It's summer vacation time, etc. Friend, if you have to wait for your aunt to move out or your spouse to get on the day shift, or you're waiting for the primaries to end, the new senator to be elected, the interest rate to drop, or inflation to slow down, the new advertising campaign to get started, the new model to come out, if you are the one waiting on the change out there before making any decisions internally or taking any actions, you are wasting valuable time. Start right now. After wasting those 29 days, I discovered that if I lost 1 inch and 9/10 pounds, 10 months later to the ounce and to the day, wait, and that is exactly what happened. Exactly, back to my book, See You at the Top, is 384 pages, and counting foreign editions. It has sold more than 2 million copies. As mentioned previously, I wrote 1 1/4 pages a day, every day for 10 months. I took small bites out of it every day. How do you build a magnificent marriage? It's not the great honeymoon, big Christmas, or expensive vacation. It's the everyday acts of time, respect, affection, and courtesy that show you that you show to each other. You raise positive kids in a negative world with daily injections of love and direction and concern. You build a magnificent career regardless of the field by doing the little things. So honestly, think about that. It's just days at a time. And you gotta think, when it comes to a goal, it is all about days at a time. So like you said here, he wrote 1 1/4 pages a day, every day for 10 months. So if you really do the math, he's writing maybe 30, plus that fourth might be 40 pages a month, and he did it for 10 months. So that's how you do it. It is all time. You gotta think, 10 months, that is close to a year, but you gotta think, he wrote a book in a year. 10 years from now, he would have written 10 books. And then if you really think about it, when it comes to working hard or doing a little bit at a time, it's honestly a lot if you think about it. Like with these videos, I'm trying to make 3 a day. I've been making 2 each day because I work 3 on, 3 off, and I've been doing overtime. But if you really think about it, that's how you do it. You just do it a little bit at a time. And when it comes to being a half-minder or a gonna-doer, here's how I believe you should be that. Don't tell people you're gonna do it. Do it and then tell them. When I find, hopefully, an acting class around where I live, I will do it, and then I'll tell people, yep, I started taking acting classes now. So if you really think about it, you can tell when people like have that half-mind or mindset or gonna do her, but for you, if you're in that situation, don't tell anybody. Just do it and then tell them. So, for one, you can't really wait on the most valuable time, because the best time is right now. I've said that many times on this channel. The most valuable time is right now. Don't be a half-minder, don't be a gonna-doer, and take it one day at a time. So think about that. Now the third and final part we have in our book here, and this is probably the most basic thing that not really the most basic thing, but this is about education and motivation. And the reason why I like this little section here is because of what it says right here. Education depends on motivation and the formation of good work habits. So do you ever think about that? Do you ever think about your work habits? Like your habits on wanting to work or working? Like this morning I got up, I did my morning routine, I went to the gym for a couple of hours, and then I came here and now I'm filming this, and it's 4 in the afternoon doing this. Now it's as in everything. Like, are you willing to get up early enough to get something done? Are you willing to stay up a little bit later at night to get something done? Are you willing to sacrifice anything in your day to get something done? Now, something that I think we should all think about when it comes to work habits is, why not work? Because, now obviously your time is important, but in reality, what if you just worked like for 6 days and then one day where you did whatever you wanted? Or better yet, what if for 4 days you really busted your butt and worked as hard as you could on whatever your business, your day job, your body, your health, and then 3 days later you just took off? So your work habits are very important, but listen to what Zig Ziglar has to say about education and motivation when it comes to work. Listen to this. Education depends on motivation and the formation of good work habits. The most precise predictor of educational achievement is neither money nor class size. It is the quality of homework assigned and completed. All of this was well established most recently in the U.S. Education Department's publication, What Works? Research about Teaching and Learning. That's what they discovered. I don't think we have an educational problem. I think we have a societal problem. We need to understand that even after we've invested billions of dollars in schools, we're still going to have to work in order to separate the information from the book it is in and put it into the minds of the students. We need to teach students early and learn this lesson ourselves. You never work for somebody else, never. Somebody else might write you a check and might sign your check, but the truth is you work for yourself, as you're the one who eventually determines what amount they fill in on the check. We need to learn that, and we need to teach it. Every job is a self-portrait of the person who did it. Like the portrait painter who designs his or her name, we should autograph our work in any and every work with excellence. More than you're paid to do, you will eventually be paid more for what you do. One of the great privileges I had was to learn important lessons as a child. My mother, in the latter stages of her life, often said that she deeply regretted that her child had to work so hard when we were children. Each one of us assured her repeatedly that one of the great benefits we had was the privilege of learning to work early on, and I think we finally persuaded her of that. Every job is a self-portrait of the person who did it. So think about that. I really like what he says here. Every job is a self-portrait of the person who did it. Because honestly, who did it? Like my boss on my job, I know side work, he really worked to climb to the ranks to where he's a manager of a plant, of a big plastic plant. He paid for his school, his kids' school through this job. He bought his house with this job, and he took care of his wife with this job. The reason why I bring that up as an example is you might think they do work jobs, they do work these dumb hours, but they all do it for, get this, a purpose. And they don't work for somebody else, they work for them. Like they are trying to make as much money as they can to provide for their families and for themselves. Now I work a bunch of overtime because I do like money. I would eventually like to move out of this nice home you see in the background and move to a different city, but saving your money as much as you can is very important. And every job is a self-portrait of the person who did it. And to be honest, when you're working that very crappy job, you might think, well, he did it, so I can do it. And you don't have to work that job forever, but right now in your life you need a job. And if you really, really do not like it, you find something else. And if you don't like that one, just think, well, he did it, and he's been doing it for a while, so that means I can do it. And then not only that, but it doesn't depend, it's the quality of homework assigned and completed. So you know those students who basically do all their homework, finish it, and then bring it in the next day, and then they might not do well on the tests, but they do the work? Because not everyone's a good test taker, but you gotta think. They're taking their time to do the homework and put it and return it the next day. They are willing to do that instead of like other students who will play their sport after school, play video games all night, and not do their work or do it last minute. It's the responsibility, the organization, and the wanting to learn and the wanting to pass that will get you in life. It may take some time, but that's where the motivation comes in when it comes to education. Just simply doing the homework that is assigned to you and completed. Honestly, that's what they have discovered in the U.S. Education Department's publication, and work in order to separate the information from the book it's in and put it into the minds of students. You're always going to have to work on separating the information, but that's where you become creative and you find a way to separate that information from the book and put it into your mind to where you understand it. So overall, this was a very good book. Goals, I've read this book going on twice, probably 3 times now. I've learned so much about goals and about life and just about making good choices through this author and through his books. And the takeaway for this book today is, last book I read, Born to Win, was about goals, but the takeaway for this video is find motivation in education. When you're educating yourself, find the motivation to learn more or put in more to your education to get more out of it. So that's the takeaway I have for this video. I want to thank you all for watching. You all have a wonderful day. You all stay safe, and I hope you all work hard today. Thank you.